Hey everyone, as we're continuing building out the foundation, this next session is talking about leading as a team. Now, a team is very important to me because with a team, you can get more done with more people on your team. There's an old adage that says, if you want to move fast, go alone. If you want to move far, go together. And part of what we're talking about is this thing. You can accomplish things much quicker if it's just you. But if you want to have exponential growth in your small group ministry, you need to develop a team. Now, team is so important to me that on the teams I grew up on, we loved winning, but we hated losing more than we loved winning. That's how much of a team we were. We were bonded together and we were all moving towards that goal. That's what I'm hoping that you'll have. It's so important to me that one of my interview questions is, did you play a team sport? Because when you've played a team sport, you understand that you have got to be the best you can be at your position. But you understand that you're a greater part of a team. And in the same way, your small group ministry has got many components to its team that you need to build out, but you got to understand that if you want to go far as a team, then you're going to need these pieces. So let me start just going through them. The first thing is you need to identify your internal teams. Now, when we're talking about the internal teams, let me just explain them to you and then I'll come back and explain them. It's going to be a small group point person. There's going to be either community leaders or coaches, and then there's going to be your C team. Now, the small group point person is the person who the buck stops with them. They're the ones that are the tip of the spear. They're the ones that are landing on the beach first. They're the ones that are modeling it. They're the ones that are dreaming about it. They're the ones that have that elder attribute where they're all about saying, I want to give vision to this part of the aspect of the small group ministry. And so you got to understand that maybe you watching this, it may not be you, but the issue that you got to make sure you have on the internal team is who is the point person. The second tier is the community leaders or the coaches. And these are the people who are giving care to your small group leaders. Now, we're going to talk in one of the 20 questions, about how the community leaders aren't the sole care for a healthy small group. They're part of the village. They happen to be a very critical part of the village, but they work hand in glove with the small group point person. Then the third grouping of people I talked about in the internal team is the C team. And this tends to be the team that's overlooked the most. The C team is basically this. If I were starting a business, I would develop a C team around me. I would be the CEO. I would make sure I had a CFO, a CSO, a CHR, a CIO, maybe a CTO, and the C group can be expanded as far as you needed it. But what they are is your C team are your strategic leaders. And my prayer is that as you are building out your plan, and as we talk about the 5 critical areas inside your small group ministry that align to these 20 questions that we're going to go through, is that you would develop 5 people in your C team. Someone that handles connections, someone that handles spiritual growth, someone that handles the investment of leadership development, somebody that would handle the outreach or marketing, and somebody that would handle the sustaining engine of your small group ministry. But when I started Saddleback Church, I was the only person on the C team. And then later I got volunteers who would help me along with that. But they're more strategic leaders, where your community leaders are more shepherds, and where your small group point person is a little bit more of that innovator. They are a little bit more of that point person that's trying to make the small group ministry work. Now, just as we've been talking about internal teams, the second part is identifying external teams. Now, these external teams can be external of your church, but they can also be inside your church. They're just external of your small group team that you're working on in the first point. These external teams, let's talk about them from the church side. You can find support elsewhere in your church that is supporting your small group ministry. These may be people that you've bonded with in other teams or areas in your church that they may not be working on the internal side of small group ministry, but they're a champion of yours. They want to support you and cheer you on. And when I first came to Saddleback, I was looking for people who were group friendly. They may not have been working on groups. They maybe had another job or a role they were doing. But I look for people who could be my advocates to help us manage and get to a church that was a church of small groups.